This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Well, good morning, 7 o'clock right now. I'm almost done with the Halloween decorations. I have been so slow this year.
The clock is ticking. Come on. We got a week.
Yeah.
I know.
Got to get them up and enjoy them.
I know.
I didn't even put in the effort, though, this year, I have to be honest.
I have this giant, and I mean giant dragon, and it takes a lot of work to put it together. I'm going to do it today.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'll take a picture and show you guys.
Yes, please.
I'm impressed. Very cool.
I love that. I've wanted one of those like 12-foot skeletons for a very long time, and my husband says it's not financially responsible as of right now.
Year after year.
I know, but we have nowhere to put
That's
it.
just it. You always have to say, where's it going to go after it?
Exactly.
Storage.
It would just
Gotta
be
keep it
there
somewhere.
for the rest of the year. My neighbors would be very confused, so I entirely understand. But for those of you who maybe have inflatable decorations for Halloween up, keep in mind that we are talking about some gusty winds in our forecast for later on today, so keep that in mind. Right now, we're in the 40s across our region, mainly in the low 40s outside of the metro, mid-40s in Louisville itself. Clear skies for every single one of us, some clouds showing up towards the Indianapolis area just because you're a little bit closer to that low there. Now, once we head into this afternoon, mainly still talking about that sunshine with highs in the upper 50s and the low 60s. I mentioned that wind for later on today, gusts between 20 and 30 miles per hour expected. So another one of those chilly, breezy fall days. Now looking ahead, the wind relaxes for Thursday and Friday, but the colder air, that will stick around, and it doesn't look like we're going to see any significant warm-ups in our forecast over the next 10 days. Rob?
Okay, Tawana, thanks so much. The afternoon winds may affect your commute, but so far this morning, thanks, smooth sailing and clear out there. No crashes to report at 7:02. Good morning to you. We're keeping an eye right now. This is a great shot. I love 65 at the Kennedy Bridge. Smooth sailing, dry pavements out there this morning. No major issues to talk about at this hour. This is your drive times right now. The 65, the Watterson to Junction, 65 Snyder to Watterson, and 65 Shepherdsville to Snyder. All under 10 minutes. We like it that way. Green on the right means that all systems are go at this point. If we do see any of the red, we'll certainly investigate it and let you know what we find out. Otherwise, looking good. But I do have something else I want to pass along to you real quick. It is a heads up for all drivers today. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet plans on closing ramps to I-65 northbound. It's expected to start this evening right around 6 o'clock. The I-65 on-ramp from Preston Highway will be closed until right around midnight. The closures will then give KYTC crews time to do some routine maintenance. During that time, drivers, they should find a detour. Olivia, back over to you.
Rob, thank you. 3 people are in jail after police discovered nearly 24 dogs living in terrible conditions. LMPD says one of the men, Tymane Harris, is facing about 20 charges of animal cruelty. On Tuesday, detectives and a SWAT unit searched a home on Rowan Street. The original case was not about animal abuse, but officers found multiple dogs there that needed help. Louisville Metro Animal Services and LMPD worked together to remove 19 dogs from the house. Many of the animals had visible infections and signs of malnourishment. 2 of the men arrested are not facing animal cruelty-related charges. LMAS says it will take volunteers interested in helping the dogs. An update this morning on a double homicide case. Police say they're looking for the person who pulled the trigger in that deadly shooting in Okolona.
At least one woman is now charged for her alleged role in this crime. LMPD says 22-year-old Jasmine Brown helped plan those shootings. Police believe Brown told the suspected shooters which door was unlocked unlocked so they could go in and shoot the victims while they were sleeping. Police say Brown showed up to the Falcon Crest Apartments after the shooting and told officers the men were her roommates. Investigators say while Brown was in jail that a phone call was made to one of the suspected shooters. Police say they also found Brown with a handgun that was reported as stolen. Neighbors say they were shocked to learn about the shooting plot.
I thought it was just a couple guys involved, and, you know, they had a beef with a couple other guys. But, you know, to have a woman behind it all and planning everything, that's surprising.
Brown is charged with complicity to murder and receiving stolen property. LMPD is still looking for 3 more suspects. If you have details, call police. This week is National Teen Driver Safety Week. It comes as new research shows Kentucky has the most number of teen drivers killed in crashes.
This is the 4th year in a row Kentucky has led the country in teen driving fatalities. Wave News reporter Marissa Burke joining us now with more on how transportation leaders are looking to make a change. Marissa?
Shannon Olivia reports say an average of 7 teens die in a car crash every day. Transportation leaders say that the risk of fatal crashes increase with the number of passengers in the car for teens. The goal of National Teen Driver Safety Week is to educate parents and other teens on habits to keep the roads safe. In Kentucky, the Transportation Cabinet reported more than 48,000 crashes involving a teenage driver. Those crashes resulted in more than 13,000 injuries and 210 deaths. Officials say safety lessons start at home, adding that parents can practice what they preach every time they get into a car. During National Teen Driver Safety Week, students are also calling on their peers to make wiser decisions.
We're not invincible, and there is a certain amount of risks every time we get behind the wheel, but we're capable of making smart choices that protect ourselves and our friends.
There are a few tips that officials share to change the trajectory of these statistics, and those tips are avoid distracted driving, wear your seatbelts, minimize passengers, follow speed limits, drive sober because teen drinking still does happen, and another big tip is not driving drowsy. Between school, extracurriculars, and jobs, some teens may be tired when they're behind the wheel. Marissa Burke, Wave News.
Marissa, thank you. New on Sunrise, a man is in the hospital after he was shot in the Russell neighborhood. This happened on West Chestnut Street around 9:45 last night. Officers arrived and found a 31-year-old man suffering from a gunshot wound to his right thigh. Police say he is expected to survive.
Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg says it was the right decision to suspend a Russell neighborhood bar's liquor license. Over the weekend, 2 women were shot while eating at the Double Deuce Bar and Grill on West Broadway. The mayor said in part there are rules that everyone must follow to keep the city safe. The mayor added there are now more police officers patrolling the area and that this incident was a final straw for that particular club.
I should add that in that area surrounding that particular club, that's one of our focus areas for not just LMPD, but all of our Louisville Metro government. And in the past months, there's been a 500% increase in enforcement activity from LMPD and ABC in that neighborhood. We were focused on improving safety of that neighborhood. And so when we saw something like that happen, that was the final straw. And now there's been that emergency suspension.
We reached out to the owner of Double Deuce Bar and Grill about the suspension. They declined to do an interview. One of JCPS's newest schools is already facing growing pains, and now talks of a possible boundary change may have some students attending other schools.
A meeting last night to address issues at Echo Trail Middle School drew families concerned about how the change could impact their kids. Rob Wells is back with the details. Rob?
Olivia, overcrowding and congestion, those are the big reasons behind the possibility of boundary changes. Still, a number of JCPS parents say they do not support that idea. Echo Trail Middle School opened in 2023. At that time, it was considered a solution for a growing population in the Metro's East End. Echo Trail now scheduled to be over capacity. That's next school year if something doesn't happen. The proposed solution, students living north of I-64 and west of the Valhalla Golf Club who would be slated to go to Echo Trail in the future would instead attend Crosby Middle School. The plan would impact about 90 incoming 6th graders.
This is a Band-Aid, and I caution you all to not move into a decision that takes care of the problem today and next year. Why can we not look at our entire school district?
Others are threatening to take their kids out of JCPS and put them in private schools if this change is actually approved. Another block of families worrying that the district will keep having to deal with that issue of a growing population year after year. Still, top staff leaders say they're committed to making sure that doesn't happen. Again, students already attending Echo Trail will not have to move. This would only impact future students in those boundary lines. JCPS staff hoping that the school board will vote on the boundary decision at their next meeting. That's coming up in November. Olivia?
Thank you, Rob. Metro leaders have tabled a vote to temporarily pause approving permits for new data centers in Louisville.
Data centers house the machines that handle the massive amounts of data needed for future technologies like AI. Regardless of what council members decide when it comes to this pause, a vote would not affect a massive center project already planned for Southwest Louisville on Campground Road. During Tuesday's meeting, some city leaders argued the Metro should avoid setting moratoriums as a common practice.
Since I've been on council, we've all tried to avoid moratoriums if we can, right? The general consensus is, let's see if we can do something administratively. Let's see if we can do something to avoid, passing a moratorium for any specific thing. So in that spirit, I guess, we have the moratorium written. We have it sitting there waiting for us and waiting in committee. So if we need it, we could pass it pretty quickly.
Some in favor of these data centers say they'll bring jobs and tax revenue to the area.
Debate over data center proposals, not new in Kentucky. Just last week, a large crowd met to oppose a potential center in Meade County. That vote to rezone the area ultimately failed after hundreds of residents expressed concerns about how it will impact energy costs and the environment.
Well, still to come, Southern Indiana hosting something very special for fans of Stranger Things.
Late News reporter Kirsten Foote will tell us how you can put your Stranger Things knowledge to the test.
The popular Netflix series Stranger Things is set in an Indiana town, a fictional one. And as fans are getting ready for the final season of this show, Southern Indiana is getting into the spirit.
Yeah, they're going upside down. And this weekend, you can test your Stranger Things knowledge through trivia and so much more. Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote is at the Tourism Center in Jeffersonville with a preview.
Southern Indiana is going upside down for all things Stranger Things this week, and a New Albany bar is also getting into the fun too. I'm with Brittany Basham, and she is with Rec Bar Tell us what you guys got going on this weekend.
Hi, so yeah, we've got a lot of upside down going on. We started with the Demogorgon that has been the hot spot for everybody to stop and get pictures with. We have several setups and decorations through the whole store. On Friday night at 7 o'clock, we're doing the upside down trivia. So we've got the whole Stranger Things theme going on all the way through the night on Friday evening to be able to bring it into the community and have everybody there.
Absolutely. And so you guys have arcade games, and the big thing of Stranger Things is it's 80s and arcade games. And so we have a pinball machine here. And so I'm going to try to, I didn't really do that.
Cool. Wait, yeah, there you go. Now, pull hard. There you go. All right.
Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on. Ready?
This is why I can't have nice things.
There you go. Now go.
And you guys have kind of been Stranger Things. Oh, I got it. What do I do? Oh my
It's going to kick out somewhere.
So
There you
you
go.
guys have been like Stranger Things kind of themed since like 2020 when you guys opened.
We did. So when Rec Bar decided to come to Indiana, we wanted to tie it into Stranger Things. So when you walk in the door, you'll see murals that have to do with,
oh my gosh.
What is it doing?
I broke it.
I think so. Like,
oh no. I beat the game, you can say.
We'll restart that.
So you guys started in 2020. You had all those Stranger Things themed.
We did. So it kind of ties in back to the 80s golden era of arcades, the way the Stranger Things is set. So it kind of like ties right into our vintage pinballs, which we do have the Stranger Things pinball too, and it's 50% off all week long as well. And we tied that into the Indiana roots when we started the place. So you can see several things on the walls and all the way around us that has to do with Stranger Things, and it's been like that since 2020.
Oh, that is so cool. Oh my gosh, there's gonna be so much going on this weekend. All around Southern Indiana, you definitely don't want to miss it. Definitely want to hit up Rec Bar, go to trivia night, try your hand at pinball. Maybe you'll do better than me. I don't know, I'm pretty good there. Back to you.
Thank you, Kirsten. Yeah, pinball can be tricky too. I mean,
hard.
Once you get in the flow, you're just fine, and it feels like it never ends. But getting into it is tough.
I really want to play pinball right now.
Never had that urge at 7 a.m.
Never before, but here we are. I mean, usually it's something making me hungry, so at least we have a little bit of something different going on there.
True.
For anybody heading out today, just keep in mind as you're planning ahead, we are going to be talking about a little bit more of those chilly temperatures across the region. Temperatures right now in the 40s to start off the day. Our coldest spots are for Lebanon and Columbia and Frankfurt, all sitting at 41 degrees right now. In the metro, what we're dealing with, 48 for those of you in Sellersburg, 46 into the Iroquois neighborhood, and then we're also talking about 45 degrees for those of you in St. Matthews. Starting to see that bit of sunshine coming up over the horizon. We don't officially have sunrise until 7:59, but at least we do have plenty of sunshine in our forecast for today. Clear skies across our entire region this morning, watching some clouds off towards our north with that area of low pressure. We can see a few drifting by for southern Indiana as the day goes along, but really just going to see a lot of those sunny skies. The wind light this morning, less than 10 miles per hour in most spots. But once we get into this afternoon, going to be talking about some windier conditions with some of those gusts between 20 and 30 miles per hour. So that means the afternoon commute could be a little bit more difficult, especially if you have a higher profile vehicle like an SUV. What we're going to be dealing with temperature wise for later on today, though, will be some more of those cooler conditions, highs only in the upper 50s and the low 60s. As we look ahead to the next 10 days, here's what we have going on. Once we get into tomorrow morning, it is going to be quite chilly with clear skies and light winds returning to the 30s and low 40s for your lows. So that means, yes, a lot of us do have that potential for some frost for Thursday morning, and that is why we have a frost advisory in place along and north of I-64. Keep in mind, the metro is not included in this because the metro tends to be a little bit colder than more rural and suburban areas. So we'll keep an eye on that. Then for Friday morning, even colder temperatures. Then we're talking about everybody waking up to 30s for Friday morning, which means we could get another frost advisory in place, but there is that chance for a light freeze in some spots too. So we'll watch for that. For today, tomorrow, and on Friday, plenty of sunshine, highs in the upper 50s and low 60s, keeping it cool and cloudy over the weekend as we watch an area of low pressure Moving on by, this will try to bring some showers into our region, but it overall looks like we're just going to be dealing with the cloudy skies for the weekend. Now, late Monday into Tuesday is when we'll see some more of those showers coming back into our forecast, maybe even a thunderstorm or two. Behind that Tuesday system, things looking to stay pretty chilly for the rest of next week. Olivia?
Thank you, Tawana. The Louvre in Paris is set to reopen today, minus an estimated $102 million worth of stolen treasures in what some are calling the heist of the century. One of the most high-profile robberies at the Louvre since 1911 happened over the weekend. Police say the thieves entered the museum through a window, took jewelry and some other treasures, and then left on mopeds. The robbers used a ladder to get access to the Apollo Gallery where those jewels were. Investigators are looking closely at a blowtorch and an angle grinder found at the scene. It appeared to be a professional heist, but a former jewel thief says the thieves made a few mistakes.
They dropped one of these brooches. They only robbed, what, 9? I think it was 9 brooches, diamond-like pieces. Well, you just dropped a ninth of your whole entire load right there. That's an amateur move.
Investigators don't have any leads as to who was behind the heist, but they are slowly gathering evidence. A law enforcement official in France says investigators recovered one of the 2 scooters the thieves used to get away, and they also found a helmet believed to be worn by one of the thieves. Vice President J.D. Vance is in Tel Aviv this morning as the Trump administration tries to secure the fragile ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas.
This comes following a fight breaking out between the two sides over the weekend. Officials say Israel accused Hamas of attacking 2 Israeli Defense Force soldiers. Hamas says Israel launched a series of airstrikes that have killed more than 40 people since the ceasefire deal. Vice President Vance met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday. Vance says he is confident a peace deal will last. And just ahead, the weather is getting colder. And did you have any winter coats?
And yeah, we'll tell you how LMPD is making sure everyone who needs a coat this winter can get one.
Dozens of leaders from Kroger's Louisville division will compete to support their Zero Hunger, Zero Waste initiative today. It'll take place this afternoon at the biannual store manager meeting. Leaders from 116 stores will partner with Blessings in a Backpack Louisville chapter to compete in the Race to Feed to pack 5,000 bags of food for students. They'll see which district can pack the most of food the fastest. They'll then donate their time to deliver the bags of food to schools in our area so students will have access access to nutritious food over the weekend. So the weather is most certainly getting cooler, and LMPD is asking for help.
They're trying to ensure those who are in need are able to stay warm this winter. LMPD's 3rd Division has been hosting a coat drive all week outside of the Southwest Government Center. They've asked the community to donate new or gently used coats. LMPD will then take the coats to Exodus Ministries and other outreach organizations, so the coats will get into the hands of people who need them. Officers say they just want to help the community in any way they can.
You know, we're not just here to get the bad guys. We're here to make sure that people, needs are met. And one of them is less fortunate. You know, they're going to want jackets for the winter. You know, everything's expensive nowadays, and we're just trying to do our best to help out.
If you want to help, it's not too late. The coat drive will continue through Friday. You can find officers outside of the Southwest Government Center on Dixie Highway from noon to 4 each day. And the details can also be found on their Facebook page. We'll be right back.
This Wave News Update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Kogan. Police say they're looking for the person who pulled the trigger in a deadly Okolona shooting. LMPD says Jasmine Brown helped plan the shooting at the Falcon Crest Apartments last month. 2 men were killed. Police think Brown told the suspected shooters which door was unlocked so they could come in while the victims slept and kill them. Brown is charged with complicity to murder and receiving stolen property. If you have any details about the shooting, call police. Here's meteorologist Tawana Andrew. We're going to get the sun today?
Oh, we're going to see plenty of it. Already seeing some gorgeous sunrises out there this morning. Sitting in the 40s for everybody to start off the day. So grab your jackets. You're going to need it. Also grab the sunglasses because this is the beginning of the sunrise on our SkyChat camera in Jeffersonville. absolutely beautiful with the Big Four Bridge there. So a gorgeous start to the day. But what we're going to be seeing throughout the rest of the day, mainly clear skies, just like what we're seeing on the satellite and radar right now. We'll keep the sunshine through the afternoon as we climb into the upper 50s and the low 60s. It is going to be windy later on today, so keep that in mind as we watch for more of those gusts between 25 and 30 miles per hour in most spots. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of spots saw some gusts a little bit higher than 30 miles per hour later on today. Now, as we look ahead to the next 10 days, we're keeping it chilly for the rest of the week and into the weekend. That includes in the mornings. We're going to watch for a frost advisory for tomorrow morning, and we'll be even colder come Friday morning. So get those coats ready. Rob?
Tawana, thanks so much. Yeah, grab the jacket before you head out the door, but you will have a smooth ride. That's one good thing about this morning. Good morning to you at 7:28. We have a zero crash report to talk about. This is 64 at 9th Street. Beautiful conditions out there, clear and dry. Hopefully it'll stay like that all throughout the morning. And no reports of any major tie-ups right now. Your drive times through the metro are all under 10 minutes right now. Using any of the inbound from 65, we'll see in about 25 minutes.
Oh, well, first I have to turn the mic on. I am all over the place here. Oh, where are we going here? There we are. It's just a Wednesday morning. I guess that's the kind of day we're going to have today. All kinds of surprises that are going to pop up here. Hey, we have plenty to talk about today. In just a few minutes, we're going to be joined by Marissa Burke. She's going to be talking about the latest installment of Wave Rewind, talking about something you might recognize as part of the Louisville skyline and when it was put in. So she's going to tell us all about that as we take a look back into our archives. But first, street improvements were completed this week on the West Kentucky Street Corridor, connecting businesses, residents, and nearby colleges between Old Louisville and the California neighborhood. It's about making education accessible for everyone, whether you walk, take public transit, or drive. And city officials say it's also about making the neighborhood safer. For those who use that stretch of the road, they say it's more than just concrete. It's about changing lives. And Wave News anchor Brian Schlonsky explains how.
Before the renovations, it was kind of tough getting to and from campus. The roads were pretty bad. Sidewalks were cut off.
Khalik Davis has attended Simmons College for 3 years now, is an athlete who lives nearby and walks to campus. You heard him describe what that walk used to look like, but things are different now.
Giving us a street and renovating it out and cutting it down and extending it and building it, it just gives me more of a sense of comfort as well, just being able to walk around and just be myself.
Tuesday, Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg announced that the West Kentucky Street Corridor project is now complete. The road converted from a one-way to a two-way from 5th to 8th Streets with visible crosswalks, improved sidewalks for walkability, a link between Old Louisville and the California neighborhood, connecting business, people, and schools.
So we have neighborhoods where people can thrive and enjoy themselves, communities that people stop in and don't just speed through.
Simmons College President Reverend Dr. Kevin Cosby says investing in projects like this puts Louisville's HBCUs on the map. Already, students attend Simmons from 28 different states.
If we want to really improve our city in its totality, especially parts of our city that has been neglected and omitted, then we must build roads.
For Davis and other students and residents nearby, neighborhoods reimagined build confidence.
It gives me a lot of pride. It gives me a lot of excitement and anxious to see what the future holds for Simmons in total.
So now the road is finished and they plan to plant trees that will become a tree canopy and give more shade to the neighborhood. A woman is in jail on a $100,000 bond after a crash left a man dead. Errol Taylor is charged with vehicular homicide while under the influence of drugs and DUI. Police say she ran a stop sign and crashed into a Mustang at West Lee Street and McCloskey Avenue on Monday night. The Mustang driver died. His name has not been released yet. An arrest report also says Taylor smelled of alcohol and marijuana. She's due back in court on October 29th. We're still months away from the start of the next Kentucky legislative session, but lawmakers are already lobbying to gain support for their proposed bills. Republican Senator Chris McDaniel says he'll once again file a bill to limit the governor's ability to issue pardons. He's proposing a constitutional amendment to stop the governor from issuing pardons in the last 60 days before an election. McDaniel says it's in response to the hundreds of pardons former Matt Bevin issued while on his way out of office. And Kentucky lawmakers are also considering making changes to a proposal that would allow local governments to stop using fluoride in tap water. Currently, the state requires water systems to add fluoride. The Kentucky Dental Association is against making fluoride optional because they say research shows it supports healthy teeth. State Representative Mark Hart, who sponsors the bill, says the change isn't about health, but removing an unfunded mandate. Hart also added a new section of the bill to protect cities from being sued for removing fluoride.
We have decided in the new bill, and you all should have drafts of it, simply adds an immunity clause in it. The water districts will be immune from any type of civil litigation, regardless of which direction they go, whether they keep fluoride in the water or take it out.
The bill to make fluoride optional in drinking water failed to make it out of committee in the last legislative session. Tuesday marked 30 years since the Louisville Slugger Museum's iconic Big Bat found its home at the Louisville Slugger Museum. It's 120 feet tall. It's 60,000 pounds. If you've seen it, you understand because it is just massive. It's seen by hundreds of thousands of visitors who stop by to see it every year. Wave News reporter Logan Perrone uncovers historic photos from the bat's past, and it shows how the iconic sculpture got its signature look.
For 3 decades, an untold number of memories have been made here.
This is amazing.
I think everybody should come see it.
I mean, it's a really big bat.
On Tuesday, the Slugger Museum went big, celebrating the Big Bat's 30th birthday, covering all the bases, the card, the cake, and a sweet serenade. The Slugger Museum dedicated an entire exhibit to the Big Bat this year, highlighting some of its most famous visitors, its arrival here downtown, and of course, its creation. This year, John Yates is a local artist. His name wasn't known until photos from his wife were donated earlier this year, and there was another man in the photo. His name was a mystery until now.
I started working for Negley in 1989, and that's when I met Steve and John, and then they got this secret project that they were in on. And we found out that there was the bat.
Mike McKinley worked with Yates and Steve Ratliff, who painted the bat by hand in a Preston Highway parking lot in 1995. Then, in the early 2000s, the bat needed to be stripped and repainted.
Steve and John did not want to do it again, so I got the job.
The summer of 2002, frozen in time, Mike shared his memories and his own photos of when he got his crack at the bat.
You know, you kind of feel it like you're in a carnival or you're a part of something. So it was really neat. I enjoyed it, but I was glad when it was over.
Both Steve and John have since passed away, but like many of the legends enshrined inside, their legacy lives on the outside of the museum. Mike still touches it up from time to time.
I'm looking forward to it, you know, lasting 25 years after the last repaint that I did. If it makes it that long, I'll feel like they had their money's worth.
And in that time, or another 30 years, who knows just how many more photos and memories it will make.
Every time I come around the corner, I go, wow.
Reporting in Louisville, Logan Perrone, Wave News.
You're watching Wave Sunrise Extra, and we're actually talking about Wave Rewind right now. So I'm joined by Marissa Burke with me here, and you have kind of taken the lead on Wave Rewind, taking a look back into our archives. You love history, so you're able to highlight some of Louisville's history. What are we talking about in this episode?
Oh, we're talking about some big Louisville milestones, but also the good and the bad. And I'm talking about like the 2nd Street Bridge opening. Everybody was super excited, ready to make money. And then when you look at the dates, you're like, wait a minute. The stock market crashed. The Great Depression happened days before.
Oh, terrible timing there.
Absolutely. Because they had big, ambitious goals. Like they're like, oh, we're ready to vanish poverty. And then when you really start to see the effects of the Great Depression start to hit Louisville, we're talking about the banks closing. And then it was like a month later when people started going, oh, this is bad. This is really bad.
Right, right. And even thinking about back then, that was, I kind of threw the number out there, I guess 1930, and you said 1929 actually was when it all happened. And to think that the 2nd Street Bridge has been around that long too, and the different cars that were going across it, I think it was built a little different back then.
Absolutely. And the date specifically is October 29th, 1929. So it was about to hit a birthday.
Yeah. Oh, wow. You're right.
The
You're
29th.
right.
Yes, the 29th is when everything hit the fan. The 31st, Halloween, was when 2nd Street Bridge opened.
And we were even just watching that video that we showed there and seeing people walking across that bridge. Just wild, wild. Okay, so what else is in this episode?
I thought there were some interesting points about how people were dealing with the Great Depression. Like you saw people who were still getting dressed like they're going to work, even though they may have lost their jobs, to just sit around at the bus station. Like all day.
That's all they did.
They wanted to give up the appearances that they still had their jobs. But then there was also this program called Manna Block where people were giving their like lawn chores or things like that to people who were unemployed to give them something to do. So you really see how people are dealing with it on different fronts.
It's so interesting to localize the Great Depression too, and that we have the ability to go back into our archives and see it right there. I mean, this video that we're looking at right now, it feels unreal, but then you can recognize certain parts of it. I mean, those people dressed up nice there, you don't know what they're going off to do.
Exactly. And you also see the resilience of Louisville and how big push on small businesses, but how the tobacco industry helped the city. Because you see, people started wanting to smoke cigarettes and somebody has to make them. And that's where Louisville came into play. So again, you just see just how the city just kept going. So that's when the flooding happened. I know that.
Yeah, I want to kind of there we getting about to that part. There we go. People kayaking.
Broadway.
That's Broadway. Okay, so now I can definitely recognize that. And this is the flood of Louisville.
Yes, that was in like 1930, so the year after. So what makes this entire episode special, I think, is how Derby is there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and you will forget that everything happened when Derby came around, which is what we see year after year.
Yeah, right. It really doesn't matter what happened. Specifically thinking about the flooding too, because we had the flooding that happened this year. Derby was kind of the light at the end of the tunnel. It didn't get that bad to where people were kayaking down Broadway, but how fast was that water rising?
It was 4 inches per hour.
That's insane, because as someone, I mean, I live on the river, so I tracked all that water that was coming in, how high it was getting up. Not 4 inches an hour, not at all. And even going back, thinking specifically about the 2nd Street Bridge, the different infrastructure that was in place back then too, Louisville really couldn't handle that.
Right. And there was a big push on small businesses. Again, like you see how we say, shop local. And that was what they were excited about. They were excited to have that traffic be able to come in, and they were projecting like 20% on just that nice increase. But again, everything went up and straight back down.
So do we know what happened after the Derby? I know obviously the Great Depression continued, but at least Derby, was that just the distraction? Did it help anything with business, bringing people in?
Well, of course it did. So you got to watch the episode to really see how everything comes about, because you see, like I said, the highs, the lows, we're almost there. And then, then there's Derby. So you'll have to watch the episode to really take you on that journey.
Okay. How long is the episode for people who want to check it out?
It's just about 30 minutes. So not too bad.
Yeah. Hey, I watch Netflix shows and I could actually be there for hours. So 30 minutes, you can learn something too, see some video from Louisville's history, showing that again right there. I mean, again, that's just wild to me that we have these in our archives in our basement here at WAVE, and we just are able to go down there, check it out, and step back into history.
Absolutely. And I'll be streaming this episode, so I'll kind of guide you along some of these points and give you little fun facts about the time period, and just to put things in perspective. Like you'll hear them talk about how they were making 30 cents an hour, and that's about $5.54 today.
Oh my gosh.
Still under minimum wage when you think about it, but still back then that was,
Wow. I mean, to think about how times have changed, but 30 cents an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So, okay. And then kind of, you said you're going to be streaming this and walking people through this. What has this experience been like for you? Because this is your 2nd episode with WAVE Rewind.
I love history, but also being a part of Louisville and getting to really highlight the good moments, the building moments, which is really what this one is about. It's been such a heartwarming experience for myself, because as a history lover, to learn more about the place that you live in, you just can't really put that experience into words.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure people have got to already love seeing this. And like I said, the video, I think, just kind of shows how impactful this is to really step back into history. And I mean, I'm just fascinated by it. I'm excited for this one. And you have a lot more up your sleeve too, I'm sure.
Absolutely. You never know what stories we're going to bring about, because I know we're getting messages of, hey, are you going to cover this? And it's like, well, we'll see what's in the archive.
Can people still send you messages like, hey, do you have videos like this, and maybe get story ideas from that?
Absolutely, because that's another element of WAVE Rewind, is to be able to kind of fast forward as well, to talk about what we experienced, but what we are seeing or what has changed since then. So if you maybe remember something that WAVE produced, send us a message. We would love to check out in our archives to see if that episode is something that we're going to bring about, or maybe we'll do a special release. Who knows?
Oh, that'd be cool. Thank you so much. And hopefully you'll get some new story ideas from that too. And we're excited for this new episode of Wave Re. What time?
Oh,
and
so,
where?
Oh, you can go to Wave Rewinds on our website. We have a little tab there where you can see the different episodes, and I'll be streaming this on YouTube in a few hours. So just stay tuned.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Marissa Berg with Wave Rewind. We'll be right back with some sports headlines. We've got the state soccer tournament happening right now for high school soccer. So we'll give you updates on that. Stick with us in just 2 minutes. Well, racing returns to Churchill Downs this Sunday for the opening of the fall meet. The 136th fall meet will kick off Sunday with the 21st annual Stars of Tomorrow 1 program. It's those 2-year-old horses hoping to make a run for next year's Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks. The fall meet will run every Wednesday through Sunday through November 30th. Racing begins at 1 o'clock every day, except on Thanksgiving Day. That's when races will begin at 11:30 a.m. Tickets for the fall meet are on sale right now on the Churchill Downs website. Well, after knocking off South Carolina on Sunday, the UK men's soccer team kept their 25th ranking, and today they'll mark another top 25 matchup for the Wildcats. This evening, the 20th ranked Georgia Southern Eagles will play host to the 25th ranked Cats. With just 4 games left in the season, UK currently shares a 3-way tie for first place in the Sun Belt Conference with West Virginia and Marshall with 12 points. Kickoff for this one is at 7 p.m. and it'll be streamed on ESPN+. Not even a week removed from that scary scene at Wagner, and 2 games later, local powerhouse in high school soccer, St. X, played host to Butler in the Sweet 16 of the state soccer tournament. Butler making the state tournament after winning the 7th region. St. X won the 6th region. In the first half, the St. X Tigers' Max Fahey finds Marco Quintero, who puts the ball in the back of the net, putting the Tigers up 1-0. And then later in the half, Tigers taking a corner kick. Somehow, that ball finds Quintero again. He punches it in for his second goal of the game. St. X ends up winning this game 2-0. It will face off against Bowling Green on Saturday. And in the women's team's also in action right now. Central Hardin eliminated South Oldham 2-1, and they'll now meet Davis County in the next round. And my alma mater, I have to give a shout out to the Sacred Heart Valkyries. A big win here. They beat Bullity 6-1, setting them up for the matchup with McCracken County on Saturday. The state championships for both boys and girls will be decided in Lexington on November 1st. Go Valkyries. Come on, I've got to cheer for him there. Well, looking back to the NBA last night, they made a return for the 80th season last night, and it's returned to the NBC. The network broadcasted games from 1990 through 2002, and it's back, baby. These games for opening night didn't disappoint. First, it was the Houston Rockets taking on the reigning champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Houston led most of the game, but the Thunder came roaring back, forced overtime, but one overtime wasn't enough. Game went into double overtime. OKC was able to take the lead with just 2 seconds left. They won the game. Final score 125-124. A thriller there. And then the next game, the late game, actually, the Golden State Warriors traveled to take on the LA Lakers. They were without LeBron last night. The Warriors jumped to an early lead, only took a 1-point lead into halftime, but after a big third quarter, they opened the lead to 11. They never looked back. They claimed this one 119-109. So exciting to see the NBA back on NBC. That's all the time we have here for Wave Sunrise Extra. I hope you have a great Wednesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.